It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. Well. Here we go.
What a crazy weekend.
One of the funniest things I read, I just popped into my mind now. Read it over the weekend. It was on the National Review Readers page on Facebook. And it was some guy. I just burst out laughing. He was at the Nutcracker and said, nobody really likes doing this. Nobody likes being here. Nobody wants to be here. You have to pretend you like the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
I got to find that. It just popped into my mind now. One of the funniest things that I saw over the weekend.
Yeah.
But the other thing was to show you where our politics is right now. There's the headline: ShamWow guy files to run for Congress in Texas as a Republican candidate.
All right.
Vince Shlomi, I guess is his name, better known as the ShamWow guy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And how is he not related to Steve Buscemi?
I don't know, but when he used to do that infomercial,
yeah,
I always went back to the, and I mentioned this last week too. Not the turkey drop on WKRP, but the live radio broadcast from the Stereo Store.
Yeah,
where the engineer Bucky looks at the guy who runs the Stereo Store, who's talking a mile a minute, and he says, "Hey, Del, speed kills," because he was a little over the top hyper with the ShamWow, which means I wonder what it's going to be like to see the first video of him campaigning. Whether he comes across, well, I would like to let you know that I'm a serious candidate who was worried about the Keynesian economics promoted by Democrats and even some Republicans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that we need to get back to capitalist ideas, whether he'll talk like that or whether he'll talk a mile a minute.
Yeah. He also did the slap chop thing.
Oh, I will slap chop government spending.
I have one of those slap chop things. I didn't buy it from TV. I bought it, I don't know, at the store somewhere. I use it actually quite a bit for onions. I have a slap chop. The guy went by Vince Offer. That was his stage name, Vince Offer. I guess if you're going to do that for a living, which he was doing for a living, infomercials for a while, all right, you come up with Vince Offer. He looks like if Steve Buscemi and one of the Backstreet Boys had a kid. That would be the ShamWow guy.
We'll be watching that race for you.
Yes, we will. We will definitely be watching that closely, only because we want to see the commercial.
Oh yeah, I want to see his ad.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
How long ago was that? Because it was something else that hit me the other day, and I forgot what it was. And
2006.
No, okay.
That's when ShamWow was.
Wow,
that's when that started.
Wow, and I think about it because did you see
what did we do before 2006 without a ShamWow?
Yeah,
pretty much everything.
Yeah, still.
Yeah,
but it was the remember the woman, the physical health woman, Susan Powder.
Oh yeah.
And apparently she was like homeless and she lost everything, And the networks were on it last week because she's written a book. And she's like, it was my own fault. I didn't pay attention to the money. What do you mean you didn't pay attention to the money?
Yeah.
I was making tens of millions of dollars, and I never paid attention to the money.
Well, somebody paid attention to the money.
Somebody
paid a lot of attention to the money.
What in the world? And I forgot, and I went, when was that? And it was in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I went, 30 years have gone by that quickly?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
She used to, and get this, she used to scream on her commercials, "Fat is making you fat." Well.
She couldn't do it today. She'd be accused of fat shaming.
Oh, she was paid by the big grain industry. Big carbohydrate.
Big carb.
Big carb, as we call it.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm in that big carb fight every day.
Yeah.
But interesting weekend. Everybody trying to guess the motivation of MTG. You know, it's funny because as she positions herself as she may be positioning herself. Herself. Did I slur there?
Yeah, a little bit.
Let me have a little. Give me another drink of vodka here.
You need a shot of ShamWow.
As she attempts, in my opinion, to position herself more as a populist. You know, the whole thing. I came here to get things done. And it just takes too long, and that's the whole populist thing. Under the Constitution from way back in 1996 when it was passed. I know that's not true. I'm just on the 30-year thing for some reason.
Yeah.
If you're upset because as an individual congressperson you can't move your agenda, well, then you're BSing everybody.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the power. You don't have the power to do it. But when you keep promoting the populist agenda and you say you're going to resign, but you're going to stay in long enough in order to collect your pension, you lose the populist credibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I said recently, with her recent interviews, appearance on The View, and everything else with MTG, that it looked like to me she's auditioning for something. Something in the private sector. I don't know if that's media consultant, a paid contributor, new contributor on The View, wherever that, or just somewhere in the private sector. She was trying to scrub herself of everything in the past that she had been a part of. That is on her. Not her difference with Trump, not her split with Trump.
Right.
In fact, she's using her split with Trump as a part of what looks like, to me, some kind of private sector audition.
Well, but when she is the one promoting the fact that basically she got into Congress to get things done and bring people together and then jumps to MS Now, someone asked the question, all right, we understand why they changed it, but what does MS stand for now?
Right.
It's like,
they should have another channel. MS when? MS how?
But look, nobody buys it. She was a flamethrower from day one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's fine. You can be a flamethrower, but don't pretend you were trying to be this great. I mean, she didn't say it, but she was implying, in my opinion, when I heard it, as if, she was trying to bring people together to get things done. It was like, stop it, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
But you can go down every single rabbit hole by doing exactly that, by trying to figure out what her motivation is. The bigger story is, what does this mean? I was reading, I believe it was National Review that said, well, this shows that Trump still has power. And I guess so, but I think the bigger story is it shows, because I was thinking, I think they wrote it, they said a couple of weeks ago she went on with Tucker Carlson. Now, think about this. Tucker Carlson and MTG both officially saying MAGA is dead.
Yeah.
Which, did you ever think you would hear that a few years ago?
I didn't
No.
think I'd hear it. I certainly didn't think I'd hear it by the end of 2025.
But I think that it does represent, and again, when you talk, if you're talking MAGA is the entirety of all the demographics that voted for Trump, you were eventually going to, in a second term, especially because there were so many different demographics. And I remember we actually sat down one time, this is in his first term, and came up with the 8 different demographics that voted for Trump. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what they were now, but I remember that we did that. But I think if, the failure of Republicans to understand that she does represent, I can't tell you what percentage of a demographic, but she does represent a portion of a demographic of the Trump support out there that does feel betrayed. And these are hardcore supporters. I saw some of the social media people that I know that are listeners to this show that absolutely were complimenting her for having the guts to stand up because we need to stand up for principle. And I'm like, wow. And we're not surprised by this. We predicted that there was going to be some type of backlash. We didn't know it was going to end up with MTG quitting. But when you look at the things that and I believe this is part of the demographic that she's a part of, because she's been promoting isolationism. Mm-hmm. She's been more anti-Israel. Mm-hmm. Her critics say anti-Semitic. Mm-hmm. But they look at the isolationist part. You and I, we have no idea, but there's a certain portion of MAGA, probably you could say more of the hard right, that thought he was an isolationist. And we have no idea where the hell that's coming from. No idea.
Yeah, it was a significant chunk of MAGA that thought that.
And we were like, we have no idea where that, and the same that thought that he was against legal immigration.
Yeah.
And we always found that interesting, how some of the strongest calls or support for MAGA on, I guess you would say, more on the right. I mean, it's tough to define it because I consider myself probably, very conservative libertarian, but far right. I don't know. I see, in my opinion, far right doesn't mean that you're anti-Israel and isolationist or against legal immigration or understand, because of the birth rate, where this country is going, and that you're going to eventually, if this continues down that path, you're going to need a lot more legal immigration into this country.
Right.
But that there was an assumption by that demographic of Trump's support that he was behind all of those things, and we never saw that. And so this thing that Trump has betrayed that portion of MAGA because of those things, we know there was fury from that demographic when he went in and took out the nuclear reactors in Iran.
Mm-hmm.
They're not happy with the Gaza deal and where that is going. They don't like the United States' involvement in it. They are much more isolationist.
Yeah.
Trump wasn't there. And so, to me, I think for that demographic, it's not paying attention to what Trump actually said. And we've always been amazed. But, I mean, the question is out there now, is Trump no longer MAGA? I mean, that hit over the weekend big time.
Well, I think it's quite possible that that MAGA's on its way out, and the new ShamWow movement is on its way. Are you ShamWow?
Are you
You're not
ShamWow?
ShamWow. I'm more ShamWow than you are.
ShamWow. Clean up Washington. Are you ShamWow? I'm ShamWow.
Yeah. And it's literally starting in the heart of Texas. That's where the 31st district is.
Right. Exactly. So it's starting here. The new ShamWow movement.
A new movement.
Clean up Washington.
Make America ShamWow again. Yeah. It's
no. ShamWow was not the guy involved in January 6th.
No. Here is the problem with, again, attaching labels. The labels mean nothing. It's where people stand on different issues. There are people that, like with MTG, that agree with her maybe on being an isolationist, but they disagree with her on, a million things. And the same with President Trump. And so the split there was not surprising, because the question is, what is it that you actually believe, not what you call yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
And this tribalism, or I don't know, Game of Thrones like loyalty play goes nowhere, because no one is truly loyal to someone else. I've said it for a while. With President Trump, the only people that he can trust in his inner circle right now are also named Trump, if we're talking fully trust. Because the alliance is only going to last as long as it's working for everybody involved. The question is, what do you actually believe? What do these people actually believe?
Yeah. And again, that's why we say we focus on all the issues, whether we agree or disagree. And you back it up with the better argument. But you get lost when you start using the label terms.
Yep.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller. When driving, you need to manage the space around your vehicle so that there's enough space to allow you to adjust when traffic conditions change. The space ahead of your vehicle is the most important. One rule of thumb is to allow at least 1 second for each 10 feet of vehicle length at speeds below 40 miles per hour. At greater speeds, add an additional second. It's impossible to keep other drivers from tailgating you, but there are some things you can do to make it safer, such as increasing your following distance, avoiding quick lane changes, and slowing down. There are also several things you should do to ensure that there is plenty of space between the side of your vehicle and other vehicles. Don't hug the center line, and avoid traveling alongside other vehicles in strong winds. This tip was brought to you by JJ Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We're at Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. So I think that's what I got out of the MTG thing. Everybody's trying to guess her motivation, and is this the end of MAGA, whatever. I mean, that gets into all the label stuff. Mm-hmm. When you actually talk about the issues, though, what it shows, and we said this before when she started going after Trump last week, we said, well, no, this makes sense, because there's a number of things that he has done. And I think one of the final straws when he was on there was Laura Ingraham. He was talking about the fact of legal immigration. We need more, we need more, we need more, we need more. You and I have said this for the longest time. The country isn't there. Forget about MAGA.
Right.
The country isn't there yet.
Right.
It may be, I look at it and may be right. What is the timeline?
Right.
I don't know, but the country is not there.
Nope.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. So, what I was doing. Oh, by the way, that I sort of went through the motions on that one. Damn it, get the app. All right.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, listen. Why do we have to keep telling you? All of a sudden,
do it now.
yeah, we're going to become Stephen A. Smith. Get the app!
and happy Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Happy Thanksgiving. So, you and I,
Pass the gravy.
we're always scanning.
Yeah.
We're always scanning and looking for stuff, and so one of the things because I subscribe to National Review, they have the National Review Facebook page where people can comment.
Yeah,
and it's interesting to see people who subscribe to National Review what they think. That's one of the benefits, I guess, and. Some of it's really good, and some of it's, like anywhere else, some of it's not so good.
Mm-hmm.
This may be the best ever. This is a guy who apparently was in the audience watching the Nutcracker. Because I'm expecting political stuff. I'm thinking, all right, what are they saying about MTG? All right, what's the average person who considers themselves a conservative?
Yeah.
What do they think about the the Ukraine Russia deal? Is there a deal? What's going on? Was that a U.S. plan? Was it a Russia plan? And now it's like you and I in our pre-show meeting looked at each other and went, we have no idea where this is.
I have no idea what to believe.
and we'll get to that in just a couple of seconds. So that's what I'm looking for. Serious kind of stuff, politics. And apparently this is a guy who's sitting through. He's in watching the Nutcracker, and he said, after all these years, I still refuse to believe that anyone actually enjoys sitting through a performance of the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Rather, I think that people who pretend to like it, and I'm absolutely sure that they are just pretending to like it, pretend to like it merely because they were told they need to like it in order to have a certain level of sophistication. The end of this production cannot come soon enough. Well, that got to me. I mean, I was losing it when I saw that one. I probably laughed for a good 15 minutes. So
yeah. No, it's true. It's as if, first of all, if you don't like it, you're not sophisticated. Well, I admit I'm not sophisticated. That's not the problem. I feel like if I don't like it, then someone's going to scream, "You hate Christmas," which I don't. So I then pretend to like it. I've actually been to a live performance of it. Have you? Have you ever seen a live performance of it?
Only when Trans-Siberian Orchestra does it for about 5-6 minutes in a song.
Yeah. Well,
but that's really not the Nutcracker.
I kept asking my wife, "Well, why'd they screw up the Nutcracker by putting all this ballet stuff in it?" She's like, "No, just watch." So yeah, I
remember when I was in college, and my parents made my brother and I go to see my sister do ballet, and we had to go. It was like, no, you need to support your sister.
Yeah.
Because
right,
come on. I mean, my interest in ballet was really
you were more into figure skating.
Exactly.
It moves faster.
But it actually was pretty good, and that was at that time when my sister was dancing with the very famous actor Jeff Fahey.
Oh yeah. Lawnmower Man.
Yeah. What was it? The one
Lost. He was on Lost.
He was on Lost.
The TV show Lost.
Yeah. And it had a bunch of stuff in the 90s.
Yeah.
That's where he started. He started in the Buffalo Ballet.
Yeah.
And then I think got on one of the soap operas. I forgot what soap opera he was on for years. He was in the early 80s. But yeah, he used to be Dance with My Sister, and so
yeah.
But it was not that I'd want to see it all the time, but it was really good. I mean, when you see the athletics that it really takes to do it, because when you see people on their toes, it's like, how the hell do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah,
And-
that it does look very difficult.
And it is very difficult. And my sister today, still, back, feet problems. She has it from that.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough. But, yeah, so there you go. And a happy Thanksgiving. Or, as Stephen A. Smith would say,
Happy Thanksgiving! Pass the gravy!
well, it's officially over.
Yeah.
DOGE is officially done.
Yeah.
It's
It is
over.
Officially over.
It's gone from the government.
Yeah.
The Department of Government Efficiency has disbanded with 8 months left to its mandate. Office of Personnel Management told Reuters earlier this month, when asked about DOGE's status, DOGE does not exist anymore. It's gone. It's done. Former DOGE employees take new roles in the administration or go somewhere else. It is no longer a centralized entity.
Well, here's the thing. Take new roles with the government or go somewhere else, which is ironic because the Department of Government Efficiency, you would think at least that department, when it closed, not that I want to see people without work, but you release those people so that you're not spending government money on those roles. So instead of, and I saw that, they will be reassigned to other government. Wait a minute. No, that's not efficient. We need to be, if DOGE is gone, why worry about being efficient now?
Well, I saw this. At least 2 prominent DOGE employees are now involved with the National Design Studio, a new body created through an executive order signed by Trump in August. That body is headed by Joe Gebbia, co-founder of Airbnb, and Trump's order directed him to beautify government websites. There you go. But, we have said over and over again, and we were severely criticized for it.
Yeah.
By, people that listen to us, or some of our loyal listeners, when we said they're not going to cut $2 trillion. They're not going to cut $1 trillion. They'll be lucky. We'd be thrilled if they could cut $100 billion. They did cut, and they did, put in some efficiency things, which is all good. But what they promised the American people, remember the checks coming out, the trillions of dollars in savings, we knew that wasn't going to happen because still, as we said, if you cut $1 trillion or $2 trillion, remember, because $2 trillion was the first one, right? It was $2 trillion.
Yeah.
You would have nothing besides Social Security, Medicare, defense. Everything else would have to be cut out. When we went through, if you in order to cut that kind of amount, and so we knew it wasn't going to happen. And you saw the blowback, and the American public isn't there. We read you. I think it was the Pew study on what Americans believe should be done, and Americans believe that the government can be cut 40%, but they don't want it. They want increases to government spending in everything except foreign aid. That's it.
Yeah.
And so, as we have said, a significant portion of the American public is completely delusional or ignorant about the federal budget and what money goes where. And that's a problem if you don't have any idea what's going on, yet you have an opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's what's driving, because people criticize the Republican Party, but they're not doing that. Well, their base, a significant portion of their base is ignorant on the issues. We want to cut. What do you want to cut? Well, we can cut the budget 40%. On what? Foreign aid. It's less than 1%.
Yeah.
And we want increases in everything else. Sorry.
No.
Can't get there.
No.
So when people say, well, the Republican Party isn't doing anything, they don't know what to do. They don't know where their base stands.
Well, and again, the majority of the American people, including a huge chunk of people on the right, are no longer fiscal conservatives that are greatly concerned about the national debt, government efficiency, or any of that. Our audience notwithstanding, there are a few of us left. And we don't know where that went. The Republican Party has been moving further left on every issue, including fiscal issues, for the longest time, since you and I have been doing this. And they're moving further left because their base is moving further left.
Mm-hmm.
We heard it after the recession. Well, if the bank's got to bail out, I want mine. Those were conservatives telling us that. Then things like, well, maybe we need to take another look at single-payer system. Exactly what Donald Trump said on a talk show appearance, I think it was Letterman, as late as 2015. And those are things that when you look at them, and again, you'd have to take a poll on where we are. I think this is where the left wants to keep pushing this whole single-payer system thing going with the Obamacare bailout and subsidies. They're wanting to keep push it until basically the private sector breaks and is done, and the government has to move in and save the day. They want to do that with energy. They want to do this with health care. They want to do this. And people look at this, and nobody cares enough to see this happening, to see where this train is headed. Nobody cares enough. The overwhelming majority of people don't care enough that this train is headed off a cliff. It's on the track right now, and that's all that matters. But it can't remain this. But inevitably, there is zero hope that I have that will remedy this situation, that we will get on top of this situation with a real solution before I'm gone on this planet. I hope to be here for a long time, and I don't think we're going to turn this around before the dynamics of it all end up doing that, and that is crossing that threshold where we can no longer service the interest on the national debt. And right now, we're getting closer and closer to that. We're closer than we've ever been to that point. The question is, question isn't who's MAGA, who's not MAGA. The question isn't about the people. It's about this country that was founded on ideas, and the ideas that we once believed in that kept this country strong. And if we abandon those ideas, then all is lost.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Now, am I surprised that DOGE has officially ended and really there was no conversation about it? No, because when Trump even introduced it in the campaign last year, we said, why is he doing this? The public isn't asking for it. Why is he talking about the fact that, because we felt at that point, remember when Rick Scott came out and was talking about the fact that we need to cut, and we said, not the time to bring it up. And then Trump came right after him and saying, we're going to cut. We said that could be used against you. The public really didn't respond to it either way.
Right.
I don't know if anybody voted for Trump because of that, but we just said the public isn't asking for it.
When you don't care, you don't care.
Yeah. And so so back then we had said the public isn't asking for this. This isn't what they're asking for. And so now that it's ended, to a whimper. Mm-hmm. I mean, It didn't even make the news.
Yeah.
Reuters had it, but was it a story that you saw over the weekend or the last couple of weeks? That DOGE is officially gone, and anybody outraged at all? Doggone it, we got to cut the budget. Did you hear that from anybody?
Nope.
So not surprised that it happened this way because, as we had said earlier, when they had promoted it, we said, well, nobody. Now, we wish it would have worked because we've been promoting it.
I was surprised we were even having a discussion about it.
Yeah.
So.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. All right. The case that hasn't got a lot of publicity, but is actually really interesting to read. The case of Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick of Florida. You saw where she's being charged with basically stealing $5 million and using it for her own reelection campaign. Now you're wait a minute. How did she do this?
Yeah.
Fascinating case. This is during the whole COVID thing. Her relatives ran a company that she actually was running with her brother. That were doing things for vaccination sites. They billed the government for $50,000. The government made a mistake and made it $5 million. They deposited into the account. Supposed to be $50,000. They did nothing for a month, and then started transferring the money all over the place to different accounts, and then actually sent money to trusted people who then would take that money and donate it back to her campaign. And also, apparently, a big diamond ring was bought with it. But they're in trouble with everyone.
Well,
by the way, even the IRS, because even though it's not your money,
you received it.
If you steal money,
Yeah.
you're supposed to report it to the IRS.
Yeah.
That's
right.
another crime.
Right.
You just don't get caught. You just don't get charged with stealing. You get caught with not reporting
The revenue.
the revenue to the IRS,
Yeah.
which I've always loved that.
Right. Yeah,
But,
well,
yeah,
it's with so many ways, in fact, every single way to track every transaction in this chain of events. How stupid do you have to be?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I would be.
This isn't like the 90,000 in the freezer cash.
Still not a smart move.
Still stupid. But you can't track 90,000 in the freezer. You're going to have some help on that one in the investigation.
Yeah, electronically you've got. I mean, if there was ever a slam dunk case, this is a slam dunk case because you've got all the electronic transactions. You can find them in the banks.
Yeah. How in the world does it even happen? How in the world does someone go, you know what we could do? And then you start moving on it. Again, a whole series of events here, each one of them easily tracked.
And I didn't go through the minutia of it because when you go through it, transfer to this account, then took and transfer to this account, then took money and sent it to relatives or trusted friends to then donate it back to her campaign.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different
Unreal.
so many different charges here and the number of charges, because every time they did it, that's another charge.
Right.
And when you actually read it, I was thinking the whole thing through. How stupid can you be? By the way, I did get my second Social Security check. If my Social Security check came in at $5 million, I would just think that, I've earned it over, my career.
Oh, no, I would definitely think I was special, and then
Right.
I would call President Trump to thank him, and he would then send the Department of Justice my way.
It wouldn't be DOGE because they don't exist anymore.
No.
But
Yeah.
But could you imagine you see something like that? The first thing you do is, how can I inform the proper authorities yesterday?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with the fallout of something like that.
Right.
Number one, because I don't know what the specific law is. If that happened, how soon do I have to report it?
Yeah, no, I would, because then there's record in today's age, there's record of when you're aware of something in your account. There's a record of you signing onto your account. At that point, you become informed.
Yeah,
and the clock is ticking.
Yep.
And that's what would scare the living daylights out of me. Oh, my gosh. And I would probably, and some banks do now allow this. A lot of banks still don't. I would still do a screenshot if I could, or get somebody else's phone and take a picture of it just to show, okay, look, this is what it said at this point. And in case that's some kind of data entry error, electronic error, I just want to have record that I noticed this at this moment, and I'm now taking action. And if it turns out to be an error, great, that's wonderful. But I want documentation that it was an error, and that also that I followed through to alert everyone in that situation.
I would be on the phone, because you're at that point, you're like, who do I call in the federal government? First off, I go to my bank to let them know, because when you do that, then, okay, the bank knows you've got a witness. They came in immediately and said, what's going on here? And at the same time, then you call the federal government. Mm-hmm. But who knows? Imagine calling the federal government and talking to somebody and saying, you put $5 million into my account instead of $50,000. Who do you go to? What is the number you call for that?
Right.
Which is why I probably would go to my bank.
That's the first call I would make.
To the bank?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Take a picture, take a screenshot of it. Because once you made a great point. Once you're in, as soon as you log into your account.
Yeah, there's evidence that you were aware of it.
Right. It's assumed that you were aware of it, because why did you go into your... I went into my account, and then the 50 times over the next day that you did it to show all your friends.
Yeah.
Look at this, $5 million in my account.
Right. I haven't had that many zeros in my account that didn't have a negative in front of it ever. So if that's the case, if you're looking at something like that, and it's clearly noticeable, it would be, in fact, shockingly noticeable.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether it was a mistake. You're not allowed to take the mistake
the first
spend
thing,
the mistake.
The first thing you would do is alert the person responsible for the mistake, which isn't you. But then you sit and you let it just sit there. Because I know the thought, I believe I know the thought behind that.
I mean, letting it sit for a month before they did anything? Yeah.
You let it sit for a month. They were likely thinking, I think there's a decent chance they were thinking, well, if they don't do something and alert us within a month, they clearly meant to give us this much money.
As if that's a defense. No, that's not.
It's stupidity upon stupidity upon stupidity, because you own it from the moment you log on and notice the error.
Right.
It's yours, and at that point, everything, the onus is on you.
But then you think, too, that if you, okay, let's just wait. Let's just wait, and if nothing happens, then maybe we could use it without thinking there's the other portion of the crime, which is not reporting it to the IRS, because odds are you weren't going to report $5 million to the IRS as a congressperson.
Right.
So,
yeah.
oh, my God. And reading from the Washington Examiner, when the government's $5 million mistake leads to a COVID scam and a House member's indictment, did you know that a Democratic member of the House is under federal criminal indictment? It didn't receive a lot of news coverage, but the Justice Department announced last Wednesday Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick of Florida and 3 co-defendants have been charged with stealing federal COVID funds and using the money to enrich themselves to finance her political campaign and to buy, among other things, a 3.14 carat diamond ring. Well, I mean, the stupidity. It's like you. And then coming up with the idea. And you can track the money.
Yeah.
You can track it.
Yeah.
We took out $50,000. We took out this amount, and all of a sudden, magically, that same amount appears in my campaign coffers. I mean, you're just saying, please put me into jail.
Yeah.
I will be tomorrow going to the airport. Whenever I go to the airport, that's every single time when I go through the entrance and you go through and it scans your toll tag.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, welcome, Gary McNamara.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever that happens, every time that happens, I think, man, I can never get away with any crime now in this society because I'm tracked everywhere I go. There's nowhere I can't I can go. And it's like, well, no, I don't do anything online. Yeah, you sort of have to.
There's no such thing, with maybe few exceptions, of being truly off the grid in that way.
Yeah.
There's just going to be some trail of evidence at some point.
And I think, because the GPS is on in my phone.
Right.
And, and the toll tag.
Well, if you have a modern car, quite often your GPS is tied to the vehicle.
Yeah.
Because you're using it. The thing is that you agree to these, in fact, insist on these, many people, these modern conveniences, which are doing nothing but tracking you. Remember when the whole thing, the whole fallout of the iPhone tracking people? Can you believe this? How do you think GPS works? What did you think was going on? It has a whole history of where I've been. Yep, I know. And by the way, that's a lot of stop at donut shops, Eric.
Well,
what's wrong with you?
Well, the first time that any of us, it's like, here's Google reviewing where you've been. It's like, what the hell?
Here's your journey.
It's like my
journey. That wasn't a journey.
And it's got the different places, restaurants, restaurants, bars, people's homes, wherever you've gone. It's like, you were here, you were here, you were here, you were here, you were here on this date. It's like, I can't commit a crime.
Yeah. Well, I there was a stand-up comedian that made a funny joke, said, here's why I don't litter. I'm walking down the street. I'm drinking a Pepsi. I throw the empty can on the ground. An hour later, some person dies in that spot. The empty Pepsi can with my DNA on it is right next to the body. I go to prison forever. That's why I don't litter. I mean, in today's world, tracking, I remember was it the Lockerbie bombing? I forget which plane, I think it was. And I remember my dad, who's a seasoned investigator, taught law enforcement, criminal investigation, career military cop, and military intel. And he said to me, after that happened, he said, they'll find something. They will find something. And in the investigation, and it quite often is the smallest thing. And he was right. I mean, these small pieces of evidence, there's a trail, and sometimes it takes longer to find it. But there is a trail. If there is any kind of nefarious action, even when it's not nefarious and it's an accident or something like this, they can pretty much these days tell you what happened. You know, you look at this situation here with McCormick and this indictment against her. Again, and I have to wonder, because this, again, goes back to COVID relief funds and the federal disaster funds, and that's part of the charges that those are the basis. That's the basis of the charges in the indictment. During that period, did she think did the world start thinking, well, COVID is here, it's the end of the world, I can just do this, nobody's paying attention to me because everybody's paying attention to COVID? How in the world do you just set aside the fact that electronically there is no way in the world you'll get away with it?
I know. Arrogance.
Or that parallel brain virus that I've been talking about that I believe started about the time COVID hit.
It makes it people extremely stupid.
Where people got they just became stupid. And I mean stupid.
I think we need to investigate. RFK has done nothing to investigate Eric's parallel virus with COVID.
That's right. Get on that.
We are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
From a food safety perspective, what is the difference in thawing and preparing a frozen versus fresh turkey for your Thanksgiving meal? USDA food safety expert Meredith Carruthers reminds us that ample time must be given for a frozen turkey to thaw. 24 hours for every 4 to 5 pounds of meat to thaw in the refrigerator.
Using the refrigerator is the safest way to thaw the turkey just because it's constantly at a safe temperature. Also easy because you don't have to think about it. You put it in the fridge, you let it thaw, and then you take it out to cook it.
And put the frozen turkey in a bowl to catch any thawing juices and avoid spillage. Plan to purchase a fresh turkey? Look for the use or freeze-by date on the packaging.
That has a user freeze-by date on it, not a sell-by date, a user freeze-by date on it. The poultry industry has said those use-by dates are fine to use, meaning if you buy a fresh turkey that has a use-by or best-by date on it, you can keep that turkey in the refrigerator until that date.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. All right, again, there were so many favorite stories I had over the weekend. The headline I saw that showed in the betting markets, Marjorie Taylor Greene now in third place for the presidential nomination in 2028. Number one, J.D. Vance, 55%. Marco Rubio, 8%. Marjorie Taylor Greene, 5.1%. I'm expecting an ad to come out when I tell you the next name. Donald Trump, 4.7%. So Marjorie Taylor Greene right now, after splitting with Trump, now is beating Trump for the nomination in 2028. That'll be the headline.
Yeah.
She'll come out. See, I'm even beating him in 2028.
Right. Yeah. More people would choose me over him. Okay. All right.
So Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene can come out again and say, MAGA is dead because I'm beating Trump for 2028.
It's over.
But he can't run.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'm beating him.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
We're too. Come on, we are talking about
Yeah,
the
but if he could.
but we are talking about the clueless.
Yeah.
Who's putting money down on Donald Trump
Right.
to win on 2028?
I want to talk to that what did you say she had?
5.1%.
Oh, man.
Are betting on her. They may not favor her.
Uh-huh.
They're just betting on her.
Okay. Right.
And there's a difference.
Well, even then, who would? Who would bet on her? That's even worse. You're willing to wager.
You do have a point.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning, and happy Thanksgiving. We're here today and for tomorrow, and then we're off like a lot of people are for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Dan Mandis will be here Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Our friend Dan Mandis, you know him from WTN. Mm-hmm. Marconi Award winner and all-around great guy. Our audience loves Dan, and he loves being here. We're very privileged to have him as part of the Red Eye Radio family. He's going to be filling in Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, keeping you company and bringing you all the latest craziness.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. And we're going to be off for a 5-day weekend. We do kind of a potluck thing now in the family. I used to cook pretty much everything on Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. But my adult kids all have these different dishes that they like to cook. And they don't get a chance to cook on holidays because they're usually at our place. And so they all said, hey, can we bring, and I was like, you can bring anything and everything you want. And on Christmas, we don't do the turkey and ham anymore because we do it at Thanksgiving. My wife makes this big, usually an Italian meal with lasagna and this Italian soup that she makes and homemade breads and everything. It's so great. So it's become a lot easier for me on that day. Turkey on Thanksgiving, turkey, ham, and the dressing. And those are the three things I make.
Well, I've agreed. My dad used to make the potatoes, and for the last couple of years, I've actually posted on social media because it was after my mom passed away, I had to help my dad make the potatoes when I would come in town.
Yeah, sure.
And the mashed potatoes out of regular potatoes and all that. Mm-hmm. And now he's bedridden, but I did talk to him yesterday, and I told him, I said, look, I'm still in charge of making the potatoes. We're going to have it at his house. We haven't for years, but we are because we're not going to have it anywhere else. Yeah, because my dad is at his home, and he can't go anywhere. So, but I did tell him yesterday when my sisters asked, I said, yeah, I'll do the mashed potatoes again. But I told my dad, I said, I'll make sure that I'll constantly bring you in a sample so you can test it out. He said, oh, okay. So we're all going to get, and I guess my sister and my brother-in-law, from what I know, are going to cook at their place and bring everything over.
Yeah.
So that's going to, be it this year. Hopefully we can get him in a wheelchair to hang out, because that's still the tough thing with with my dad. But I look at it, when it comes to Thanksgiving, and you look at it when you have to go through, what my dad is going through, and I'm still thankful that I will always be thankful that he's here. I understand that this is all a part of life, and death is a part of life. Mm-hmm. Eventually, for all of us. But I'm just so blessed to be. I'm so blessed. I mean, I'm so thankful. it's interesting because, I see, all the stuff, the happiness stuff and the thankful stuff. I'm as happy and thankful as I've ever been in my entire life.
Yeah.
Right now, for all the
blessings,
for all the blessings that I have.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that's really, that's
well, I was, as I was driving in tonight, I was thinking of the same thing, and I was thinking it just gets better every year. In terms of my appreciation for everything that I have, but just people in general that are in my life, and it's I see other people too that are very grateful. They seem to be very grateful people. They're respectful, and I love that. As we cover all the crazy stories and all the crazy people in this world, we definitely should be reminded that the majority of people in this world are good people. They're respectful people. They treat each other with that respect. It is a crazy society. There are a lot of radicals that we should constantly be aware of. But when you have gratitude, when you're grateful, it turns you in. You have an appreciation and respect for other people's time and efforts and what they put in. So that makes it just a better life in general.
I've known you long enough. You've never been a bitter person.
No.
I've never been bitter in my entire life about anything. I haven't been, and I view these as gifts that I've been given. I've really never been jealous or envious of anybody. I've never paid attention to it. I don't care what anybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And I do. I was thinking over the weekend when I was driving, I got a big smile on my face. I'm like, wow. And I get this from people all the time. All my, friends of mine and new friends especially.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, "Do you ever get angry?" It's like, yeah, listen to the show.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, I really don't. Now that I've been able to control the rage of a serial killer that I was directed at myself for my not being able to hit a ball with the stick on the golf course.
Yeah.
Once I solved that mental problem, I've been okay with my life.
Yeah. Right.
No, but and I got this question a ton over the weekend, because I've talked about the fact of, turning 70, and most people don't think I'm 70 when they, but they just don't. Apparently I look a little bit younger than 70, which is good. 68 and a half, I think, is what most people think.
Yeah, I think so.
But I got that question a lot by a couple of other people. A few people that I met that were new just said, "Hey, well, what's your outlook of life when you're 70? Do you like being 70?" I said, "Well, number one, I don't have a choice. But number two, this is the best time of my life. But every age has been the best time of my life. I've always looked at it that way." And people say, how? And I was actually talking to a few young people. And I said, and they said, why? Why at 70, and, I said, well, I was at 69, 68, 67. I said, wisdom. And I said, and wisdom isn't this great, it's not this great characteristic that I got because you're better than anybody. It's simply because I've made so many stupid mistakes. It's experience. Wisdom is experience. And
it's not an all-knowingness.
Right.
It's not knowing. It's not an all-knowingness and knowing what to do. It's more of a great knowledge of what not to do.
No, exactly. It's what it is. You learn it. I guess the one good thing you could say about if you've acquired wisdom, it means you don't continue to make the same mistake.
You've got some bruises and scars to show for it.
Right, over and over again. But you learn from the bruises. But and you don't sweat the smaller things. But there are benchmarks you have in your life, and I can still remember I was driving outside of Jackson, Mississippi, and this would have been 1984. It would have been late September of 84. And I was going for a new job, and I was leaving, oh, my gosh, the beautiful Gulf Coast, to go work at a radio job in Marshall, Texas, in East Texas. And everything I owned was in my 1980 Pontiac Sunbird. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
There were no moving vans. I was my own moving van.
Yeah.
Everything. Even my big stereo speakers.
Yeah.
Everything I owned was in the vehicle. I had my first month's rent paid, maybe a couple of $100 to my name, and a $1,000 credit line on my credit card. And I didn't have any, nothing charged on it. And I remember driving, and would have been I-20. Yeah. Would have been I-20 coming out of Jackson, heading to Texas. And I would have been at that time 29. I remember how happy I was. And I don't know what it was at that point, but I said, always remember this. Always remember that if you're happy now, there is no reason to ever not be happy again. And it just stuck with me, and that's always been a benchmark in my life. And remember, I had my first month's rent paid for. That was the tiny apartment that was in a house that had to be 100 years old, that had eventually, I moved out 4 months later because there were cockroaches in the refrigerator and fire ants coming up through the floorboard.
Yeah.
And I was still the happiest person. I view that as a gift that I've received.
Yeah.
I view that the attitude that I've had through life, because I know what my flaws were real early in life. I wanted to get out the easy way. I mean, my father was right. And my father said people wanted to be, you're going to be amazed if people want to be BS'd. Well, I was one of the BSers, and my father would tell me constantly. And I can still, one of the biggest insults my father had at me, that ever threw at me, that I hated when he said it to me. And we laughed about it all the time. And as I got to be an adult, was when he said, stop being like this person.
Mm-hmm.
And he had called that person, I know my father had no respect for this person because that person was a BSer, lied constantly. And he said the stupidest thing is, we all know he's lying.
Yeah.
And we know you're lying. We're not stupid. Oh, man, that just, when my father could read through me and see my immoral flaws, man.
I'll never forget. I know exactly where I was. We were on the road in town that I lived in, where I graduated high school, a couple hours from here. And it had something to do with school, and I didn't tell my mom the truth. And she said to me, "Your word is no good."
That burned, didn't
it? I will always remember. She was in the turning lane on this one street in this town, Kent Boulevard, and she was turning in front of this small restaurant to go one block over to where her hairdresser was. That's where we were headed. And I was going to sit in the car while she was getting her hair done. And I remember that we were driving north. I remember we were in that turning lane. I remember I was in the passenger seat, and she said that, and it took everything out of me. It was one of the most painful learning moments of my life. And I said, "Mom, how dare you? You know I play guitar for Aerosmith." And she, when she said that, and it was, that's one of those lessons you go, oh, for the love of garbage, I am going to have to, there's something that has to fundamentally change here as I become an adult. I think I was 15, 16 maybe. And so it's, those are those lessons over the years that, you just become grateful for. I mean, my grandkids, because there are 4 of them are in the workforce now. They have jobs. And they always ask me things. I can tell you what not to do. That's where I start. I can tell you what you shouldn't do based on my mistakes. I can give you some advice, but you have to follow through on that advice. And also ask other people who have experience in this field. Because the learning is what makes you a better person.
The thing is, too, with when I was young and lied all the time and BS constantly, my father called me on it. The best thing was, and I don't even know who it was, it said, you can't believe the relief when you get to the point in life where you realize, I don't have to lie.
Yeah.
What a relief that is, because keeping track of your lies and your BS.
Yeah, when you stop caring. I mean, yeah. I don't care.
Right, when you stop caring.
I don't care. I don't care what people think.
I have no shame. Hey, I'm not a politician, Eric. Stop it. We are Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. And I'm thankful for what I never wanted to be as a teenager, I've sort of become. Remember thinking to myself, I never want to be my father because he called me out on everything. And I realized now that so much of me is so much like my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm happy about it now as an adult.
My sister tells me, she says, even physically, you're a clone of Dad. I'm like, all right, I'll take that. I'm good with that.
You didn't expect to hear that, though, when you were a teenager, did you?
No.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.